Commissioners Court of Brazos County will meet in regular session on November the 26th, 10 a.m. Commissioners Courtroom, County Administration Building, 200 South Texas Avenue, Suite 106. First item on the agenda is invocation, pledge of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag. Commissioner Berry will lead those.
Please pray with me. Almighty, thank you for this day and the many abundant blessings you bestow upon us. In this Thanksgiving season, we are grateful for family and friends and colleagues and the citizens of Brazos County. We wish your wisdom as we deliberate today. Please protect our military men and women and our first responders from harm, as it is their sacrifices that allows us to enjoy our freedoms. We ask for your protection as we travel near and far for Thanksgiving. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Commissioner. Second item on the agenda is call for citizens' input and/or concerns, and we have four. First is Kyle Greenwood. Kyle Greenwood.
Hello. Good morning, Judge, members of the court. My name is Kyle Greenwood. I'm a Brazos County resident and taxpayer, Steep Hollow area out in Precinct 2. I represent the East Loop Opposition Council and our website, noeastloop.com. I'm here this morning with a few of our neighbors to formally and for the record state our opposition to the Inner East Loop proposal in its entirety. We reject all alignments of the Inner East Loop proposal, as well as the entire study area as a suitable area for a new road for Brazos County. Additionally, I would like to thank you, Judge, and Commissioner Condola for your attendance at our meeting last week. For the members of the court and those not present, for the benefit of the court, East Loop Opposition Council held a committee meeting last week at Bryan High on Wednesday from 6:30 to 8, where we had a presentation and lively discussion. I believe the media reported 300 to 400 people in attendance because this is an important issue. Since then, I just checked this morning, our coalition has now grown to about 800 members. I closed my remarks last week by asking for three things: time, transparency, and opportunities for public participation. We followed that up the next day with a letter to Commissioner Condola and the judge requesting specifically for a 90-day delay in the study process, as well as a series of public meetings for opportunities for public engagement and awareness of the topic. And so here we are, a week later, just 2 days from Thanksgiving, and Christmas holidays right around the corner. I know folks would like to relax and enjoy their time with family and not be concerned about what may be happening to their house or their land. And as time is of the essence, and we've not yet received an official response, I've come this morning to ask if our request for a delay has been approved.
So you know we can't respond can't have a discussion in this public comment
I'm aware that we can't have a discussion. As I read the law, you can respond in the affirmative or in the negative or state a policy.
So I was out yesterday. I have sent that information forward. I have not officially gotten a response, but I am fairly confident that that 90-day delay would be granted. I can't give you 100% because I don't know it 100%, but I'm fairly confident.
You know soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Judge, I'd like to point out, contrary to what was...
Well, see, we're not supposed to be having a discussion.
I'm just trying to point out a matter of factual information. This is not a discussion. I also attended the meeting, contrary to what was said by the speaker.
Okay.
Let me also state, I apologize. I'm not familiar with you, Commissioner Aldrich, and so I was not aware that you were present. Thank you for your presence, your attendance last week as well. I'll close my remarks.
Okay, thank you. Tommy Reed? Yes, please.
Judge, you got to speak. You have to speak into the mic.
I appreciate y'all listening to our disagreement in this matter. I would like to just tell you something about my place. I come from a family that has been a big part in building Brazos County. My grandfather and my great-grandfather were both sheriffs of Brazos County. Sheriff Horace Reed deputized J.W. Hamilton, and we know how good a sheriff he was. This land that this map at the present, the way it's drawn up now, cuts right through my property. Our property has been in our family for almost 2 centuries. It is still a working ranch, and my wife and I have been out there for the last 33 years working that land. And so we stand up right now in opposition of this East Loop, especially the way it's drawn right now, because it's going to destroy the very fabric of our very being out there, and that's our livelihood. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reed. Mary Lynn Strada?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. You all know me. You know I can talk a long time, but I'll try to stick to my 4 minutes. I have 2 things I want to talk about today. First, I want to let you know I'm not a part of a council. I'm not a member of a council, but I'm extremely opposed to the proposals that I have seen for all the possible routes for this East Inner Loop. There are so many ranches and homes that are going to be destroyed. The proposal will pass, 3 of the routes will pass 100 yards from my rocking chair on my back porch. I worked 50 years and 1 month in a governmental position. I retired 2 months ago. I've drawn 1 retirement check. And all I wanted to do was sit on my back porch and enjoy the peace and quiet and the wildlife. That will be destroyed, just like all of my neighbors. Our quality of life will be destroyed. The agricultural operations of these people will be destroyed. Our property values will be absolutely in the tank, which I consider to be a regulatory taking, and we all should consider it that. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, please look at another study area. Think about expanding Highway 6 as it currently exists. We can add more lanes there, and nobody gets hurt. It's already commercial. We don't want this. None of us want this. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Please, please, we're begging you, all of you, don't destroy our lives. Don't destroy our property. Second thing I want to talk about is elections very quickly. I want to commend our county election administrator, Trudy Hancock, and her staff for the stellar job they do in conducting elections in this county. They are honest people. They are fair people. They follow the law. I administered elections in this state for 45 years until she took over for the city of Bryan, thank goodness. I've never known her office to do anything that was not in accordance with the law and in good faith. I want to see her and her staff be able to spend their time making sure that our future elections continue to be held in a legal, fair manner, that our voter rolls are up to date, which they do. And I want her to be able to answer a question once and move on with getting to the business of what we're paying her to do. And that is all I have to say, and I thank you all very much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Lynn.
Thank you.
John Book?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I come again this Tuesday to a much more fuller room.
Can you speak into the mic, please? Thank you.
I come this morning to a much fuller room. with the same strident concerns. I want to echo Ms. Strada's words in full. These are pangs of progress that we're facing in this county. And it's not an easy choice to make. Which homes go and which homes don't? Which farms go, which farms don't? Which ranches go and which ranches don't? It is absolutely clear this should have been on the books earlier as far as study, public hearings, and the like. As much as I like the funds coming from Austin for our William J. Bryan route, I come in this morning to 2 roads closed down, east-west. The issues we're facing in this county are not going to be solved by an east loop. They're not. I don't come as a part of a group, but I come with that same concern, and it takes courage to speak. We're home to the Presidential Library of George H.W. Bush, and this quote rings true to me. Courage is a terribly important value. It means you don't run away when things are tough. It means you don't turn away from a friend when he or she is in trouble. It means standing up against the majority opinion. There's a lot of people who won't wear it on their sleeve or display it through some heroic act. But courage is having the strength to do what is honorable and decent. Commissioners, Judge, I'm asking for the honorable, decent thing here. This is not wanted in our part of the county. Elections have consequences. The bond election is a consequence. It is a sacred trust that was given by the voters of this county for projects that are needed, that are desperately needed in all parts of our county. I went to the MPO public meeting. I spoke with Mr. Rudge. We have an underfunded set of projects and needs, and I am not against anyone saying from the county or otherwise, the great staff that they are, and helping that get to the bottom and understanding the needs of our county and supporting our county. Full stop. But we have unfunded or underfunded projects left, right, and center. And as much as I want the federal funds or the funds from Austin, whether DC or Austin, we need to be of one unit on that. Right now, we are not in Precinct 2. We're not in rural Brazos County. This is the court of last resort for representation in our county. It is incumbent on y'all as a commissioner's court to do more as servant leaders. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. Thanks. Okay, that closes the call for citizen input and/or concerns. Number 3 is presentation and discussion. Presentation by Trudy Hancock, Elections Administrator, regarding the November 5th, 2024 general election. Trudy.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. As you know, we had a historic election for 2024 across the state and across the nation. We had one of the biggest turnouts ever. For us locally, we had a total of 92,626 votes cast, which is well past what the last presidential was. So I wanted to go over a little bit of information for you. I felt since we did have such a big turnout that we probably needed to want to present a little more information than I normally do. So for ballots by mail, we mailed out 3,427 ballots. We only had 2,942 returned. Of those returned, 43 of those were rejected by the early voting ballot board, giving us a total counted of 2,899. For early voting, we had a total of 71,759 voters cast their ballots early. So was a huge, huge turnout for early. Part of that early voting is limited ballots. If you don't know what a limited ballot is, it's for people who recently moved to Brazos County but have not updated their registration yet. And for those voters, they can vote here. They have to vote during early voting, and they can only vote in my office. Those voters then only get to vote on the things that we have in common with their county. So most of the residents here who voted on a limited ballot just voted really the top part of the ballot, mostly president, senate, and maybe just a few state offices. But we had 7,872 limited ballots cast, which is far beyond anything we've ever had to manage in my office. The largest we've ever had is 16,083, and that was in the last governor's race. So as you can see, our student population was very enthusiastic when it came to voting for the president. I would like to talk just a minute about that. We were able to handle those 7,872 voters 10 at a time because of the room accommodations, the size of the room that we vote in. We vote in the same room as regular voting. So we had plenty of staff taking care of that. We had a great team of workers that handled that, plus my staff. But for every one of those voters, when they check in, we have to be able to go onto the state database to make sure that those people are registered in the state of Texas. That is one of the requirements. Twice during early voting, the county lost internet service. So we were able to put in place our emergency plan and continue rocking and rolling just like nothing had happened. And that that allowed us to be able to use laptops and other things to be able to log on to make sure that those voters were able to still cast their ballot and that they didn't stand in line for an hour for nothing. So we were able to continue on as normal. Election day, we also had 17,883 people cast their ballots in our 28 locations. Like I said, bringing our total to 92,626. Immediately following our last count on November 12th, we participated in a risk limiting audit. We are the first county to participate in the risk limiting audit program in the timeline that the legislature has spelled out for us. The risk limiting audit program up until this time had been performed sometime after the election. But I requested that the county be able to do the risk limiting audit when it was required by law, which is prior to canvass. So that's a very short window for us to be able to close out an election and then to be able to do the risk limiting audit. The state sends a person down here. The information is plugged into a computer. They give us random ballots to pull. You have to count through all the bags and find the specific ballots, and then they're placed into a computer program, and then we were given a successful status for that, and we were able to produce everything that we needed to for the statistical analysis to show that everything was counted properly. Then we completed our partial manual count. The partial manual count was started on November 15th, where we drew 3 additional precincts. The state assigned us precincts 107, 22, and 69. At the drawing, we drew 74, 88, and 2. That drawing was performed by a representative from both parties and then the general counsel for the county, each drawing one of those additional precincts. And then also this time we were tasked with counting 3 races instead of just 1. Normally we're just assigned 1, but this time we counted the presidential race, the Senate race, and then we also had to draw 1 local race. In our drawing we drew the 272nd Judicial District, and I'm happy to say that that our partial manual count came out with no discrepancies. We also counted for Election Day. We counted Castle Heights, Church of Nazarene, and Brazos Center, and that is the entire location. That is not the specific precincts. We count the entire bag. So we began sorting on Monday, November 18th, and we finished counting on November 20th. So it was quite a long ordeal this time. The partial manual count teams were comprised by election workers from both parties, and we counted a total of 8,702 ballots by hand. After the election is completed, I am required to file a reconciliation that has to be posted on our website. I gave you a copy of the reconciliation. The reconciliation just is a comparison of how many people checked in against how many voted, how many votes that we counted. We were off by 42. Which we were short 42 ballots, which we attribute that to voters who left with their ballots and didn't place them in the scanner. To those of us who are normally used to voting on this system, you would be surprised that people try to walk out with their ballot. They consider that a receipt, or that's, you know, their ballot to keep. They don't realize that they have to place it in the scanner. We have a lot of people who have not voted on the new system since we've gone paper. So we did have a lot of people trying to leave with their ballots. We post someone at the door of every location watching for those, making sure that people put their ballots in the scanner. But we were short 42 ballots, which gives us a percentage of 0.045 difference in the number of ballots that were cast and the number of ballots counted. And then as far as voter registration, our voter registration team also has a lot of work to do in finishing up the election. They've processed 656 provisionals, the 7,872 limited ballots, and then we've also processed 2,636 address confirmations. Our voter registration roll currently, as of Friday, was at 141,267 voters. So with that, we've had quite a big increase. And then also, I want to give a great big thanks to our election workers. You know, we would not be able to do what we do without the volunteers that we have. For early voting, we had 38 workers. For election day, we have 188. For central count, we have 12. The tally team is consisted of 5 workers, and then we also had 5 runners, which is a total of 248 people between early voting and election day. So it's quite an undertaking. So, do you have any questions for me?
I just have a comment. I just want to thank you for your leadership. You've just done a phenomenal job. You've got a great staff, and the workers that work election day are to be commended, and we just really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
I'd like to say the same thing, and as I've always said in my other life when I used to be an election worker, I'm glad to see that you're continuing to do a phenomenal job. And from a personal perspective, it was a wonderful experience for me to participate as a citizen and recognize the process, what it takes to pull off something like this. So I thank you so very much for what you do.
It's a different viewpoint when you're sitting in the other chair. So.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, thank you, and thank your workers, and I thank those volunteers, because I know it takes a lot
Yes, ma'am.
to step up and do that as just a regular citizen, to come into a situation like that. So thank you all.
Ms. Hancock, I echo the comments that were made relative to you, your staff, and the election workers. I just had one question, and I think most of us are all familiar with undervotes, but I noticed that we had some overvotes in 2 races. What is it, just so everybody will understand, what's an overvote?
An overvote can, our equipment for walk-in or in-person voting does not allow you to do an overvote. But in a mail-in process, when you do a mail-in ballot, you can do an overvote. An overvote is when you choose too many candidates for one race. So say in president, they made a choice of 2 different candidates instead of just the one.
Okay, but I noticed that didn't happen on any of the other races. Maybe it was just the number of
Right.
candidates that they had to choose
Probably.
from? Okay. Thank you.
So just let me clarify, you said that you lost internet. I just want to make sure that everybody understands, the only place internet's used is in the e-poll books, which is when you check in, it goes to the state, and so that somebody can't come and vote there and then vote somewhere else. But none of the equipment, the election equipment, is tied to the internet.
Correct. The election equipment is not, only the e-poll book. And that sends that information directly back to our office, and so then it's disseminated to the rest of the poll pads, so that way you can't
Okay.
come to my office and vote, and then you can't go somewhere else and vote. We have to have internet access at the limited ballot station, but that is only for the laptop that we use to check voting, to check to see if those voters are registered in the state of Texas.
Okay.
So to do a limited ballot, you have to be registered in the state of Texas. So we have to be able to get on the state's database just to verify that those voters are there. Yes, and we were able to just use a MiFi and continue working.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Trudy. Thank you for the job you do. Next, we have a presentation by Kimberly Roach, Brazos County Economic Development Coordinator, on the 2023 Tax Incentive Compliance Report.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. And for those of you in the audience who may not know, my name is Kimberly Roach, and I am the Economic Development Coordinator for Brazos County. So today we are going to present on the tax year 2023 Incentives Compliance Report. The objectives for today is to understand the different types of economic development incentives the county offers, review the economic development agreements currently in place between the county, businesses, and other taxing jurisdictions, and to discuss the compliance status of each agreement. So just this presentation will be more of a broad overview, very high level. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to stop me as we go along, and if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer and get back to you. The first type of agreement that the county uses is a 381 agreement. This agreement is considered a tax incentive agreement and is a program by which the county may stimulate, encourage, and develop business location and commercial activity in the county, and that definition is pulled from the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. The way this type of agreement works is as a rebate program. That is, the full value, the full taxable value of the property is on the tax rolls, and the county offers a refund once specific contractual terms and conditions are met by a company that has an existing 381 agreement. And each agreement is different, so those contractual terms will be different with each agreement. The statutes for these agreements are found in Chapter 381 of the Texas Local Government Code, hence the name 381 agreement, because that's where it's found in the actual statute. Brazos County currently has 7 381 agreements in place. 3 of these agreements are monitored by the Greater Brazos Partnership, formerly known as the BVEDC. They just had a rebrand, so we're getting used to it. So the Greater Brazos Partnership tracks 2 Fujifilm Diosynth biotechnology agreements, and these agreements are not in effect at the same time. There's 2 agreements because one is coming to a close and the other is beginning. And then Lubrizol Specialty Products. And the court may remember that the Greater Brazos Partnership did come in a couple of months ago to present on these agreements, so I'm not going to cover those today, but we can always revisit those at a later time. And then 4 agreements are actually monitored by Brazos County. Those are Adam Corporation, so that's the Oakmont development, College Station Science Park, Evapco, and Lawson Properties, otherwise known as CC Creations. Adam Corporation, again, has 1 agreement with Brazos County. It is monitored by us. It was signed in 2015. And the incentive for tax year 2023 is 100% of the M&O rate portion of the real property taxes collected and attributable to the incremental taxable value. And these 381 payments are not to exceed $5,150,000. For tax year 2023, there has not been a payment requested yet, but we're estimating it to be around $650,000. The agreement is 12 years long, and it's from tax year 2020 to tax year 2031, and Adam Corporation is in compliance. Next, we have College Station Science Park. Again, it is monitored by the county. They have one agreement in place with us. It was signed in 2015. The incentive for tax year 2023 is 80% of the maintenance and operations rate portion of the real property taxes collected and attributable to the incremental taxable value. And these 381 payments are not to exceed $800,000 in total. The tax year 2023 payment was $50,468.05. The length of this agreement is 10 years, and that's runs from tax year 2017 to tax year 2026, and College Station Science Park is also in compliance. Next, we have a VAPCO. A VAPCO is one of our newer agreements. It was just signed last year. It's for an expansion project. They have one agreement with the county. It's monitored by us, and there is no incentive for tax year 2023. It's not applicable until 2026. The length of the agreement is 5 years, and that'll be from tax year 2025 to tax year 2029. They are seeking an amendment due to construction delays, so we will be working with the company to have those discussions to figure out how we can adjust that agreement. Lawson Properties, so this is CC Creations. Again, one agreement with Brazos County. It is monitored by us. It was signed in 2022. The incentive for tax year 2023 is 50% of the maintenance and operations rate portion of the real property taxes collected and attributable to the incremental taxable value. It's another 5-year agreement from tax year 2023 to tax year 2027. No refunds have been requested by the company, but I would expect that they would request for refund next year, but we're following up with CC Creations. The second type of agreement that we will discuss is a tax increment reinvestment zone. So this is, the acronym is TIRZ. So if you hear TIRZ, it's a tax increment reinvestment zone. Lots of acronyms in this world. It allows a portion of the taxes collected on the captured appraised value or tax increment to be deposited into a tax increment fund or a TIF, and then the revenues in that tax increment fund can be used only for improvement project in that designated TIRZ. We have 2 existing TIRZ agreements. Those are TIRZ 10, so this is Traditions, and TIRZ 21, which is Downtown Bryan. TIRZ 10, again, monitored by Brazos County, as all of these are. It was signed in 2000 and amended in 2014, so this is a pretty long agreement. The incentive for tax year 2023 was 80% of the M&O rate portion of the real property taxes collected and attributable to the incremental taxable value. Our payment for 2023 was $1,346,965.03, and the length of the amended agreement in total, that first agreement and the amended are going to total 25 years together, and that started in tax year 2000 and it runs through tax year 2024, so this year. And they also are in compliance. And then our last agreement that we will discuss today is TIRZ 21. This is the one that was just signed, I think, last month. This is for Downtown Bryan. Again, because it was just signed, there is no tax incentive for tax year 2023, and it will not be applicable until tax year 2027. The length of the agreement is 10 years or until the county has contributed an amount of $5 million to that tax increment fund, whichever comes first. And that'll be from tax year 2026 to tax year 2035, and it is in compliance as well. Any questions?
Thank you. Very comprehensive. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did the county change their policy to go to 50% from the 100% and the 80% that were mentioned prior to this?
We just adopted tax guidelines earlier this year, I believe. And I believe that
I
this,
think we've been doing the 50%. We've been doing the 50%.
I believe the standard in that is 50%. I'll have to go back and check for you, but prior to that, I'm not sure.
I think it's probably been about 3 years that we did the 50%.
That is kind of the standard that you'll see in most of the agreements, especially from the past, I'd say probably from 2015 to 2016-ish on. You'll see 50% is kind of the standard. Usually it's just those older agreements that are above that unless there's a special exemption made by the court for specific projects. For example, if the capital investment is very, very high or the job creation is very high, that may be a special circumstance where the court may decide to go above and beyond that 50%.
Yeah. So we've got the ones we monitor, the Adam Traditions and the College Station Science Park. Those exceed the 50%. From what I think you reported here. I was curious. I didn't see anything that we got prior to this or didn't have a copy. I'm sorry I'm asking these questions now, but I didn't have a copy of this material before you presented it today.
So the ones that are going to be above 50% that I presented today will be Adam Corporation, so Oakmont, College Station Science Park, and then TERS 10 for Traditions, and then the TERS 21. That's one of those exemptions or one of those circumstances that the court decided to do above 50%, and that's for the downtown Bryan development.
The downtown Bryan one, that TERS 21, that's limited to a certain amount. It's limited by a certain amount of tax rebates over that period of
Up
years.
to $5 million or for 10 years, whichever comes first. And this is for the public portion of a parking garage. So it's for that public parking space.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate you pointing those things out and answering my questions.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Kimberly. We will consider and take action on agenda items 4 through 17. Number 4 is request from Fleet Shop for the following personnel change with effective date of December the 7th, 2024. The following changes have no effect in the Fleet Shop's FY 2025 budget.
Move approval A through D.
Second.
Motion made is second to approve the division 111000000. I believe that was Fleet Shop Light. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then we've still got C and D. Did you say D?
Yes, I said C
Okay.
and D.
Okay. All right, then that caught the whole thing. Number 5 was approval of expenditure funding for reoccurring costs for consumables and rentals, as well as one-time cost of future replacements associated with groundbreakings, open houses, ribbon cuttings for the county-owned buildings, which will cover the event and those in attendance. The Brazos County Commissioner Court finds this serves a public purpose for providing notice to citizens and other governmental entities of the future hard work and partnership of the employees and officials within the county involved in the project. This expenditure approval is limited to Commissioners Court events and funds.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion.
In our information I received and what's online, there wasn't any estimation or statement of what the amount would be. Is there any idea of what that is?
I don't know, because I guess it might be a part of how big like the medical examiner's office, I think, would be maybe bigger than, let's say out at Road and Bridge when we do that. So
Okay, so it's really pretty much an open-end expense item.
well, it's limited to the court. The court would have to pass it.
Right.
And Commissioner, this agenda item came up, Ed Bull, Chief of Staff, After discussions about the medical examiner's groundbreaking, the intent of it was actually to limit it to Commissioners Court. And the hope was, even though there's not a number, because generally speaking, groundbreakings that we've done, we're actually, I wouldn't say struggling, but we don't spend a lot of money on these, and we want to continue to keep it very conservative. And so that's why we're restricting it to Commissioners Court funds as well as events as well. So we're not opening it up to the county in general because we feel that there could be potential abuse. But at this point, we can, at a later date, put a cap on it. But at this point, we really don't know what would be a reasonable amount. We just want to set a standard in order to be able to proceed forward with these purchases in the future.
Gotcha. Well, I know when we had the groundbreaking for Precinct 1 JP and Commissioners, or in JP and Constable's office, I know we had I don't think we spent any money on that one, but I think on the ribbon cutting and the chamber opening, we did spend some money with that. So I'm glad to see that we're doing these types of things, because I do agree with the intent of this, as it says in the agenda item, is I think these are good things to encourage people to come, let people know what we're doing and where their money's going.
Absolutely.
And why. So I appreciate that. I just wanted to get a little clarification on what those amounts, if there were any guidelines or limitations, or if it was just open-ended as far as the Commissioner's Court's discretion.
Well, and I can tell you at this point that we'll be looking at what a threshold amount would be before we take it back to the court for approval. Again, at this point, I think running through these next groundbreakings, open houses, and ribbon cuttings, as you stated, we'll get a better idea. We've since learned that in this particular instance, the contractor actually has funds allocated for these, so we believe that will actually take up the bulk of the cost. It will already be built in. So
yeah,
it should
well, we
be
actually
minimal.
kind of ran into a little bit of an issue with that on the ribbon cutting opening for the JP and Constables, because we had some people who volunteered who were contractors or people who were engaged in some of the services that were offered there. But this will clarify that to where they'll be able to, people like that will be able to come and contribute, I assume.
Well, we'll have to take a look at it. I'm not sure the exact circumstances that you're referring to.
Okay, yeah, the auditor might have some ideas on that, because I know that it's based on statutory what we can, what we can't do.
Exactly. Those will have to be addressed by donations going through Commissioners Court and accepted.
Okay.
And so those really need to be in advance of any. But
Okay.
if it happens after, it happens after.
Yeah. Very good. Thanks. I think that answered my questions.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 6 is approval of clinical learning experiences agreement between Texas A&M University's Health Science Center on behalf of TAMU College of Nursing, Brazos County, on behalf of the Brazos County Health and Wellness Employee Clinic.
Move approval.
Second. Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 7 is approval requested from Information Technology for the prohibited technologies and covered application policy. This is required to comply with TX SB 1893 88th Legislature.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 8 is approval of the amendment number 1 to bid 24-013 carpet cleaning with Ambassador Services LLC for correction of square footage and pricing on Constable 3 and Justice of Peace number 1 buildings.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 9 is approval of award bid 25-061 hot mix asphalts, recommended award as follows. Line 15 will be, you ready for the
Yes, sir.
draw? We need to draw on line 15.
Yes, sir. Two vendors provided the exact same price for a particular item. So in our very technical manner, as stipulated by statutes, we will draw lots.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I mean, that was like found that interesting. It was like 5 or 6 items, and they were all exactly dollar per dollar the same.
So for line 15, Judge, for the pickup of hot mix for type C, D, and B, it is Larry Young Paving. So that is who that line will be awarded to.
Okay. So I'll need a motion and a second for A through C.
Move approval with line 15 being Larry Young Paving.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Right, that's items A through C.
No, those were the ones to be drawn from.
Okay, so we're not approving A and B
Yes,
in your
we're-
motion?
Yes. Yeah, A through C.
Item 1 through 15, with 15 being Larry Young Paving.
Okay, so we got a motion to approve A, B, and C.
That's
and then
right.
also 15
Thank you.
as Larry Young Paving.
Yep.
All in
Correct.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 10 is approval of renewal of bid 25-078R crack seal with D&M Contractors LLC.
Move approval.
Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 11 is approval of infrastructure development plan, IDP, for Paradise Way, Mobile Home Park, Lot 6 and 7, 711 Ranch, Phase 1, 1100 Paradise Way. A certificate of compliance letter will be issued by the county engineer upon approval of completion of construction, validated by an on-site inspection performed by the county engineer designee. On-ground construction must agree with the proposed IDP engineering report. Sites located in precinct 1.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 12 is approval request for resubmittal of final plat Highway 6 BESS subdivision, Lot 1, Block A, .976 acre BBB and CRR survey, abstract number 84 being replat of Lake Milliken Estates, Lot 17, Brazos County, Texas. The attached plat corrects property owner information on the plat previously approved by Commissioners Court on October 29, 2024. Sites located in precinct 1.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 13 is acceptance of a special warranty deed from Kristen Curvo for .199 acres of land to be used for the improvement of Jones Road site located in precinct 4.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 14 is tax refund application for the following.
Move approval A and B.
Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 15 is budget amendments, but FY 24-25 budget amendments 9.01 through 9.03.
Move approval.
Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 16 is personnel change status.
Move approval, personnel change of status.
Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 17 is payment of claims. Approval of claim numbers 8206511, 8206681, and 9202875, 9202926.
Move approval A and B.
Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 18 is acknowledgement of the 24-25 budget to actuals by fund as of November the 20th, 2024, and an acknowledgement of 2024-25 contingency budget to actuals by fund as of November 2024. 19 is an acknowledgement of the monthly report submitted November of 2024. 20 is juvenile director's report on detention population. This morning there were 39 juveniles in detention, 27 males and 12 females, and there are 34 on electronic monitors. 21 sheriff's report on inmate population. Chief.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Our total jail population as of this morning is 746, 618 males, 128 females, and 26 on monitor.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
22 is announcement of interest items and possible future agenda topics.
Just wanted to ask everybody to join in prayer for the community of Greenville, Texas. I went to junior high and high school in Greenville. It's a growing community. Last night they lost one of their officers. Cooper Dawson was killed in the line of duty. So if you could pray for that officer, his family, that department, and that community. And just that all our officers and first responders are safe in the performance of their duties.
Okay, thank you. Hearing none.
And wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels if you're traveling.
Agreed. Number 23 is to adjourn. Thank y'all.
Good night. Good night.